say, let's identify it now again.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Canto, Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 19, verse 36. Anyatate vyaktagater darshanam nakatam nrinam nitaram riyamananam samsidasya vaniyasaha. What meanings? Please repeat. Anyata.
Anyata.
Otherwise.
Otherwise.
Te. Your.
Avyakta
Gate.
Avyakta gate.
Of one whose movements are invisible.
Of one whose movements are invisible.
Darshanam.
Darshanam.
Meeting. Na. For us. Katam. How. Nrinam. Of the people. Nitaram. Specifically. Mriyamananam. Of those who are about to die. Samsidhasya. Of one who is all perfect. Vaniyasaha. Voluntary appearance.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Otherwise, in brackets, without being inspired by Lord Krishna, close brackets, how is it that you have voluntarily appeared here, though you are moving incognito to the common man, and are not visible to us who are on the verge of death? Repeat after me.
Otherwise.
With brackets.
With brackets?
Let's start again. Otherwise. Brackets. Without being inspired by Lord Krishna. Brackets. Close brackets.
Okay.
How is it that you have voluntarily appeared here? Though you are moving incognito to the common man, and are not visible to us who are on the verge of death. Question. The great sage Sukadeva Goswami was certainly inspired by Lord Krishna to appear voluntarily before Maharaj Parikshit. The great devotee of the Lord, just to give him the teachings of Srimad Bhagavatam, one can achieve the nucleus of the devotional service of the Lord by the mercy of the spiritual master and the personality of Godhead. The spiritual master is a manifested representative of the Lord to help one achieve ultimate success. One who is not authorized by the Lord cannot become a spiritual master. Srila Sukadeva Goswami is an authorized spiritual master, and thus he was inspired by the Lord to appear before Maharaj Parikshit and instruct him in the teachings of Srimad Bhagavatam. One can achieve the ultimate success of going back to Godhead if he is favored by the Lord's sending his true representative. As soon as a true representative of the Lord is met by a devotee of the Lord, the devotee is assured a guarantee for going back to Godhead, just after leaving the present body. This, however, depends on the sincerity of the devotee himself. The Lord is seated in the heart of all living beings, and thus he knows very well the movements of all individual persons. As soon as the Lord finds that a particular soul is very eager to go back to Godhead, the Lord at once sends his bona fide representative. The sincere devotee is thus assured by the Lord of going back to Godhead. The conclusion is that to get the assistance and help of a bona fide spiritual master means to receive the direct help of the Lord himself. Om Ganatanam Randasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Umitam Mena Tasmai Shri Guve Namaha. I was born in the darkness, darkest ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him.
Done.
It's interesting and sort of continuing, I think it was a theme developed of the qualities of the devotees and the pure devotees. And it was interesting in saying, like, oh, who's speaking? If you just came in and read this, it's like, who's speaking? If we go back to I'm going forward now. I think I went too far back.
Yeah.
3. Just simply, and it's at 32. The fortunate king, Parikshit, said, O Brahmana, by your mercy only, you have sanctified us, making us like into places of pilgrimage, all by your presence here as my guest. By your mercy, twice he said mercy, we, who are but unworthy royalty, become eligible to serve the devotee. Simply by remembering you, our houses become instantly sanctified. And what to speak of seeing you, touching you, washing your holy feet, and offering you a seat in our home. 33, 34. Just as the atheist cannot remain in the presence of the personality of Godhead, so also that is that vulnerable? Sins of a man are immediately vanquished in your presence. O saint, O great mystic. 35. Lord Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is very dear to the sons of King Pandu, has accepted me as one of those relatives just to please his great cousins and brothers. And in today's verse, otherwise, without being inspired by Lord Krishna, how is it that you have voluntarily appeared here?
You can do it.
Though you are moving incognito to the common man and are not visible to us who are on the verge of death. he used in the introduction mercy twice, and that is in the list of 26 qualities. That's the very first one. And this book, Vaishnava Behavior, the 26 qualities of a devotee. Are you familiar with that?
Is that the one where it's that true?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think he did. And half of the book is...
He words them differently than they are in the Bhagavatam, but the essence is the same.
Essence the same.
Yeah.
Well, he uses, the first one he uses is, a devotee is merciful.
Yeah.
And he gives the Sanskrit K-R-P-A-L-U. Kripu?
What? What is it?
K-R-P-A-L-U.
Kripalu.
Kripalu. Huh.
So he uses that. That's the same word that
Yeah.
I noticed in other references too. So
His analysis is really it's really nice. It's really...
this is good then. And I think did I get this one in Atlanta? I picked up so many books. When I saw a new book in Atlanta's gift shop, I said, I gotta have that. And I don't know why, but I just wanted to get it and make a nice library. And now it's really coming back to help. although we carry around a lot of books, but it's helping. Nice reference. Lord Kapila, in his teachings to his mother Devahuti, discusses mercifulness as one of the symptoms of a sadhu. Skip down. You may think, yes, Lord Chaitanya and Srila Prabhupada can be merciful, but how can I be merciful? With the rubber meets the road, how is this applied to us? What do we do? The answer is that by serving the merciful great soul and by serving his cause, we can act mercifully on his order. We can serve the merciful, it's at Mahatma. Therefore, we can share in his distribution of mercy. Who among us thought of years ago before we came to Krishna consciousness, I have a goal in life. I'm going to be merciful. I mean, these things are so far above even maybe those people who grew up in the culture. You might have imbibed some of it. If your parents were devotees, I'm sure you're raised in that way. You know, be merciful to your brother. You know, don't fight. Be merciful. Well, that's in this country is not a common.
In Christianity, it isn't.
In Christianity, is very much common, but in the regular days, regular everyday life, is in America. It's not.
Christians think about themselves being merciful.
You know, they enjoy the mercy and grace of the Lord. Yeah, they teach that. We should be like. Should be like.
Oh yeah, be kind. Yeah.
But isn't there in the new Mass in Catholicism?
This I don't know.
Something about be merciful or something like that. Or Lord have mercy on us.
Yeah, Lord have mercy on us.
Lord have mercy on us.
So it's toward us. Oh, also it's taught in some Protestant, I think in some of the Protestant lines, let us be merciful as he's merciful.
Mm-hmm. In other words, he is merciful to us, forgives us of sins, so we should forgive each other. That's what they're
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that is actually one of the lines from...
Yeah. Not really thinking in terms of how can I help this person get out of here. They're thinking about this person offended me, so I should be merciful.
On a plane, on this plane.
Yeah, kind of.
And so this is amazing that the devotee is merciful. And so we get to learn about this. The second one was the devotee is not defiant, but sticking with the merciful theme I'm not going to go through the list. I saw that we watched the video that My Poor Don had the book, and we went through the book nicely on all 26. But as we work on the first one, the principles of the Bhagavatam are merciful, and anyone who follows them automatically gives up all kinds of unkindness and its resultant karma. If we follow the Vedic codes of religion, then by obedience alone, we will act on the platform of mercifulness to all living entities. What is the last word in the Bhagavad Gita?
The last word? I have no idea.
You want me to look at it?
It's morality.
Morality.
Did you say that? Did you say morality?
No, I was asking if he wants me to look it up.
Oh, oh, I thought you said
Thanks, Prabhu.
okay.
No, I kind of knew that, but it's morality, and so we act in this merciful way, and that's where, this is my opinion. You remember that? That's
What?
the last verse.
Oh, Sanjaya. Yeah.
Yeah.
Opinion is the last word.
Yeah.
I thought it was merciful.
But Sanjay's verse, right? Wherever Krishna and Arjuna is.
Yeah.
Wherever Krishna is, victory,
morality.
Extraordinary power and morality, period. That is my opinion. It's the last word before that.
opinion is the last word,
Yeah.
actually.
But that is my opinion is sort of,
Like,
just a little edited.
yeah. The last word.
The last name word.
The last name word. In describing the quality of mercy, I have done so exclusively in terms of Krishna consciousness, and I will continue to describe each of the 26 qualities in this way. Then he goes on to the other verse, the other qualities. He also speaks, we will not kill the innocent animals, and we will give the human beings Krishna consciousness. Early on, when I came to Krishna consciousness and associated with devotees, someone asked me and said, what is the most violent thing you can do to someone?
And a devotee asked you that?
Yeah, and it was really insightful. And he said, and said, to deter or to stop their spiritual path. Not kill them. That's, that just resets the clock. But to deter them from getting spiritual growth. And it's like, and when I went out distributing books, it sort of motivated me in a little way. Because I said, I have some information here I want to share with you. But never mind. You can go on your way. That's sort of violent. I got something that can help you. Or I put it down and it's on a table, for instance, and someone's about to pick it up and I say, don't take that. Or you can't have that. You don't want that. Or maybe you'd like to come to a program on Sunday, but nah, you wouldn't be interested.
What do you mean I wouldn't be interested? You don't know me.
Yeah, I know you. And you wouldn't like this. Go ahead.
So if the main reason killing is unkind, it's because it interferes with the process.
Exactly. It stops their path. So, and in fact, it was a Baha'in gentleman that sort of made a connection for me here because he was in the military and they embraced Krishna consciousness and 8 other paths or so to some degree. So he actually bought a Bhagavad Gita from our shop because he didn't have one at the time.
Did you get that magazine?
The Baha'in?
Yeah. I just put one in your mailbox.
Oh, thank you. They keep sending me. They are really on top of it. If you associate with them, they'll get you and send you that literature around the world and doing things. But and you talk about, what's the word, not cross culture, but
Multicultural?
multicultural, and also where we go back and forth between interfaith. Yeah, they're pretty interfaith. And he had been in Vietnam. He said that he had taken life. And as he started to speak, a tear came on his eye. He said, I stopped people's spiritual paths.
Oh, that's interesting.
And it was interesting that he actually caught, he knew what had happened, and he said he stopped their path. And I'm not sure if he knew also about, or took that to the next step of reincarnation, that he did not kill them, just the body and the soul go on and they would get another body if they were not ready to go back to God yet or qualified. So the most violent thing is to stop someone's spiritual path.
Somewhere it says that if we don't tell every person we meet about Krishna, it's the same as committing a violent offense.
It's exactly. And that's why when I went out book distributing, I just wanted to go to everybody and say, here, have you seen this book? Because I remember that.
Well, I've noticed that when I noticed when I wear the Jagannath hat, people will often comment how they like it. One woman said it was cute, another one said it was really neat, and they're glorifying Lord Jagannath. I don't have to say anything. The hat says it for me.
Yeah, they see. And this goes back to they're on the soul level, they already know. They recognize. So you're giving them mercy too.
The hat is.
No, you as a devotee too. Actually, a devotee, to come in contact with a devotee. A young devotee told me, this was in Atlanta too, he said, sometimes it's difficult to make advancement, but you're guaranteed to make advancement if you just hang out with the devotees. And so he said he likes to hang out with his dad is a Prabhupada disciple. And he said if you can't do anything, just be around the devotees. One thing you're going to hear chanting, Krishna Katha. And if they say, we're about to take lunch or breakfast, would you like some? Then you have everything. Just be in association. So he said that's, as a young, I think he must have been in his 20s. He wasn't a kid. He was a young man. He said, just be with the devotees.
Well, that's how Narada Muni made advancement.
Well, Prabhupada said we should spend 80% of our time in the association of devotees.
Wow, it's a science. So, and then the other 20%, distributing the mercy.
Gift association.
Giving association. So if you take all association and don't give, then it's out there.
Prabhupada said it's Maya to be in the temple all the time.
And I think there are two types of devotees. One goes out and one stays.
Yeah, Koshananandi and Bhajananandi.
And so it's good to, if it's 80-20, that's a pretty good balance. Because sometimes you run into devotees that are never in the temple. It seems they're just always out. We have to go.
Like those boys that come here.
But they have a temple in their vehicle.
Yeah.
Right?
If you're serving, and
then you're in the temple.
in association with
Right.
right?
And in fact, when we would go out on Harinam in Atlanta, it's been commented by yourself that it felt like we had this bubble of a temple.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. It was really nice.
Well, I felt like when you're in Harinam, it's like, and the antenna goes up to the spiritual world when you're chanting. It's like a radio signal that pierces through the coverings of the universe. That's the way I always felt. That's where I cut my teeth, so to speak. It was doing Harinam. And I always felt like we were directly like a ham radio to the spiritual world.
The best reception. You know,
Yeah.
when you're a little off center on it.
Yeah, and we're bringing it right here to you, right now, live,
It's really
on
clear.
Main Street.
It's really clear.
I had this other experience. If you're going to, I don't mean to interrupt it. I was walking in a mall in Alachua. In Gainesville.
Mm-hmm.
And I had been away up in Canada for many years. And Gainesville went through a very interesting transformation, the Alachua part of it anyway. There was always a nice little temple there. But that farm, when it was bought, everyone thought that, why did he do that? Why did Amaraji buy the farm? He bought it on the day Prabhupada left the planet. Mm-hmm. And everyone thought he had some kind of, some kind of breakdown, that because he was so distraught by Prabhupada, he acted in a way that was uncharacteristic. What was he going to do with it? And actually, I think the first devotees that were there were French Maharani and Shastra, and Manga Ganesh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And
I heard Shastra.
yeah, so they were there, and but there was nothing. And then we go through the various stages, and I remember being there at one point in the late 80s, and it was like, New Vrindavan was starting to fall apart, and you'd see these people, it was like they were escaping Poland or something, and coming, like refugees from all the things, the pickup truck and everything, like the Beverly,
the grapes of wrath.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
And so it was, and then I went away, went to Canada, and I come back, and now it's even. And I was in the mall in Gainesville, and I kept thinking, I think that's somebody I know. But I kept thinking, every person I saw was a devotee, but they were trying not to be noticed as a devotee. And then I realized, actually, that is the case. Everybody really is, in the material world, a devotee who's trying to not be noticed as a devotee. They're trying, make you forget that they're a devotee and make themselves forget that they're a devotee. But, and especially in Gainesville, everyone seemed to be very familiar. It was one of those little, like what Krishna sort of for a second gives you a peek at the reality. You know what I mean?
And that's where you meet someone and you say, "Don't I know you?"
Yeah.
You never know.
Yeah.
Could be. It was interesting you use this word, that trying not to be noticed or seen. There's a word that's used in this verse, and it's incognito.
Yeah.
And it says, I'll read it again, otherwise, bracket, without being inspired by the Lord, close bracket. How is it that you have voluntarily appeared here, though you are moving incognito to the common man and are not visible to us who are on the verge of death? And I did a little mini research on this word incognito. It is Latin. The word in means not, such as inactive. You've been inactive. That means you're not active, right? Get it? And incognito means known. So incognito means not known.
But like insane.
Exact. Yeah, you're not sane.
Not sane.
Exact. That's interesting. You would choose that one.
Well,
not analyzing your choices, but yeah, incognito.
well, I didn't mean it personally. So.
That's too cool.
Prabhupada said it takes a little lunacy to be a devotee.
It helps. What are we going to do today, Prabhu? Well, we're going to go down to a mall. We're going to go to this. We're going to, at lunchtime, we're going down where all the fast food restaurants are, and we're going to go back and forth up and down the street and sing our kirtan. It's like, okay. And the first time I went in Atlanta, my vehicle broke down. I said, oh man, and I got there anyway. I parked, I had I was a hippie. I had an old Volkswagen Westfalia, the top pops up.
Mm-hmm.
And so I said, I'm going to park this to the side of the highway, and I'm going to get down there. And I kept going. And all of a sudden, I started hearing ching, 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 ching. I got him. You can hear the cartels.
There was a time
Down Peachtree.
on
Peachtree. And
there was a time in America where you could go to almost any major city and you would hear that sound.
Mm-hmm.
And then for some reason the temples in those days, to me, when you get within about a block of them, the aroma of the incense and then the chants, it would be like you knew you were entering into another dimension.
That's special. And someone coming first time to a temple, I've heard that mentioned, this is different. This is really nice.
Yeah.
So, here we have the word incognito for Sukadeva Swami, the great sage and spiritual master. And he's coming to help the king of Pariksha. And Srimad Bhagavatam 3:25-21 have several verses sort of in reference to what we've studied here. Let's watch our time. It's almost time for questions. The symptoms of a sadhu are that he is tolerant, merciful, and friendly to all living entities. He has no enemies. He is peaceful. He abides by the scriptures, and all his characteristics are sublime. I like the way Prabhupada used that word, sublime. That was one of his, he used that a lot. What does that mean?
It's a very refined form of pleasure and bliss,
Yeah,
Sublime.
refined, superior, transcendental.
And those are the words, we did a little word search, and it was like top.
Can't remember all the words, but it was like that.
Synonyms.
It's it's like, to me, I always think it's more like a sublime way of saying it, a more aristocratic way of saying, the highest form of transcendence, the highest form of pleasure.
How about you, Prabhu?
No comments.
But very, very, very nice. Characteristics are sublime. All his characteristics are sublime. I do have a question for the group. And this is sort of, excuse me. This is a study on Srimad Bhagavatam by Babuda Devidasi. That's used to be Ravi. He's now initiated with a new name. The little
Ravi Gupta's mother.
Ravi Gupta. She wrote this book for them, and she has activities for all, but and particularly for youth. And one was suggesting to go on a walk and take a tape player or CD or MP3 type device or whatever, and play Srila Prabhupada's lectures while you're walking.
A lot of people do that.
And a lot of people do that.
I do that.
Jai. That's what, when we see Mother Angie walking around, she's got tapes going too.
Well, but are they in your ears? In
You
your
gotta be
head, or are you
careful.
playing it loud?
Well, She didn't specify. We have to be careful though, not to walk into traffic.
Yeah.
Her ears are
But if you're on the
different.
farm, which she is, mostly, you're safe.
Prabhu Yogendra was passing by and he said, "You're going for a walk all alone?" I said, "I'm never alone. I'm sure if I can find right here with me."
And that actually develops that relationship too. And also we're listening to the Tatha. And I thought when I first saw the devotees walking with Srila Prabhupada and on the beach and on the parks, and I was like, wow, that would have been cool to be there. Did you ever do that?
Yeah.
Wow. And that's a good envy. It's like, wow, wish I could have been there. And but we can be there and do that with the tapes and such. So.
Yeah, if I'm not listening to his job, I'm listening to his lectures. I try to keep it going always.
Very good. Okay, that was my sort of question. Does anyone do that kind of thing? Any questions? Comments?
I was noticing, when I read this, I was noticing the word, what is it? Nucleus. One can achieve the nucleus of the devotional service of the Lord by the mercy of the spiritual master and the personality of Godhead. That's interesting, the nucleus, because the Bhagavatam itself was given by Krishna to Lord Brahma in 4 verses, and he was told to expand on it. And we receive from the spiritual master, or whoever is acting as our production guru or Shiksha guru, and we receive the nucleus. And then we grow on it, and we read Prabhupada's books, and it grows in different ways. Different persons help us. And we read Prabhupada's books, and we practice speaking it. We think about it, and it grows in the Lord in our heart. But it's interesting that a spiritual master gives the nucleus like that. I thought that was interesting.
And that nucleus is the core. And one of my fields in the past, nuclear medicine, that we study nuclear, how would you say, physics, and it's the center. Those.
Could it also be
amazing?
Could it also refer to like the beej, the seed?
The seed, the
about
beej.
the beej.
And inside the seed is the.
You think about the banyan tree? And the seed grows into the bhakti-rasa people.
Goes out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Goes into the people, the devotional people.
And the spiritual master plants the seed.
So this is because obviously that's a metaphor.
Good choice of
It's
word.
another metaphor, the nucleus. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good choice of word. Also, we can see this manifest representative if we sort of contemplate on that he's actually a representative of the Lord, and that there are also those who are not representatives. But in order to be effective, he has to be a bona fide representative, and that's the blessing of having Srila Prabhupada come across to the West, that he was bona fide. We had so many gurus come. In fact, when I heard about Prabhupada, and I started hearing like, but this guru was already here. He was like, what? There were gurus here before Prabhupada? Quite a few. In fact, is it a book called The Autobiography of a Yogi?
Yeah.
He had come before Prabhupada, I believe, right?
Oh, yeah.
And he was out west, and he has a center. And in our little shop in Atlanta, we had a couple of his devotees and his, not Parampara, but a couple of initiates had come by, and they were interested in the Bhagavad Gita also. So, but
This is not really a bona fide guru. He wasn't really
he's
bona fide.
different. Yeah, he came. I think was that sort of infamous, and he tried to cross over to the Christian. Sort of adjusted his message to include them some kind of way.
Then, a tree can be a guru. You can learn something from a tree. So he came and he taught the Westerners something. There's something in the East. There's something deeper. And he taught that. So I was like something of a guru, too.
Yeah, but they were unbona fide. Like Vivekananda came,
Yeah.
said, why are you all praising God? you know,
You are God, huh?
yeah, because you're the one.
You are the guru.
Yeah.
He taught you your own guru,
Yeah,
right?
you're the God. You're God.
Yeah.
So that was.
Beautiful.
There was, there was impersonalists in my body's coming, but no Vaishnavas.
Mhm.
And there was an explosion of that around the time of the late 60s,
Mhm.
mid-60s, late 60s, early 70s.
And the Beatles also had come in contact with a
Maharishi.
guru. Yeah. And that sort of went bad for some. What's interesting here is that we have a guarantee. You know, when we purchase things, you might ask, is there a guarantee on this, a couple of years, or... But this is a lifetime guarantee, isn't it? Both ways. Because we've always been Satchidananda. But there's a guarantee that we'll go back to Godhead. And it's dependent also on us. The sincere devotee is thus assured by the Lord of going back to Godhead with the bona fide representative. The Lord actually finds us too. As soon as the Lord finds that a particular soul is very eager to go back to Godhead, the Lord at once sends his bona fide representative.
And Prabhu said also that sometimes, like when he was distributing magazines, and I think it was an older woman or something said, "Why are you struggling so hard with the magazine? It'd be better if you distributed a book." And he knew that that was his spiritual master, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada, preaching to him through this woman.
Write books. If you have extra money,
Print books.
print books. As soon as a true representative of the Lord is met by a devotee of the Lord, the devotee is assured a guarantee of going back to Godhead just after leaving the present body. Yeah. Any other observations, comments?
This totally depends on the sincerity of the devotee.
It depends on the sincerity of the devotee.
It's guaranteed to work if you work it.
Work it, would you work it?
Work if you work it. It will work
Work it,
if
it
you
will
work
work if you work it. Any other comments?
So I'm just wondering, because we're getting to the end of the chapter,
Yeah, we only have 4 verses left.
but 2 of them don't have purpose, or what is it?
Let's see.
I'm not sure.
Only one of them that we have, it's the second of the 4 coming, only the second one doesn't have a purport.
Only the second one.
Yeah,
Okay.
so the first one, it could, I guess, go with the one before and the one after.
So
You'll work that out.
your verse don't have a purpose, so you have to do 2 verses basically.
You have to go twice.
Well, last time I went ahead and I took the verse that had no purport because it obviously went
Yeah,
with
yeah.
the verse before
Yeah.
it, so
So,
obviously.
I mean, but so what is, I'm just trying to find out what doesn't happen. So we're on 37 or 30, is it what
This
It'll be
is 36
37.
today.
36. So then 37 has a purport, and then there's no purport for 38.
38 is
that would
continuing
That would
37.
go, okay, and then 39 has a purport, and
Well, it
the
doesn't have
last
one either.
verse
Okay,
is
that
no
doesn't-
purport. So I
Yeah.
mean,
All right.
actually, the whatever, how you ever want to do it, but
I
it
think
could be that I could do 2 verses without purports and read the one with the purport as well.
the first one without a purport is continuation of 37.
Okay.
So what if each of us takes one without a purport and just,
All right, whatever.
because it's a little bit changes subject.
So that's the end of and then that's the end of this. Then we go to the second canto,
Yes.
a whole nother canto. So
love the first canto. It's so amazing. It's like a book in itself. Like the Bhagavad Gita, you could take it in itself.
I love the Bhagavatam.
The next one would be the cosmic manifestation. That is.
The continuing adventure.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to the Srimad Bhagavatam.
Jai.